What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of the Dossier, the show where we share our opinions on the new and fun stuff from Marvel Crisis Protocol. And currently working through our Earth's Mightiest core set series on these ones, where we are basically taking a look at all of the characters coming in the new core set. By the time this is filmed, some of you have already been able to get your hands on it. Others of you are still waiting diligently for it. But the core set is really awesome, really great, and of course, also giving one away on this channel. You can find the video on the channel. Just look for the subscriber giveaway. But yeah, so today we are going to be looking at Ultron Metal Tyrant with the alter ego of Ultron. And remember, all these are just the opinions of one person. Take them as they will. We're just going to go over the cards and the characters and just kind of share what it's like on all that sort of stuff. So as usual, we're going to start with the models themselves. And forgive the lighting. I'm in a different environment today, so I'm going to play around and see if I can get the lighting a little bit better. That might be a bit better right there. So yeah, we're taking a look at Ultron, and right off the hop, I mean, this Ultron is it's a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more Ultron-y than the other one. The other one had sort of that standard villain pose. This one has that really nice blasting off, hovering in the air type thing, the big billowy cloak. Everyone loves the cloak, or the cape in this case. It's actually a really cool, solid model. Very easy to assemble as well. There wasn't really a lot of guesswork on it. The cape itself actually has some divots in the back that you can actually see one kind of separating because I didn't quite get it in there properly. But it's got some divots in the back that make it nice and secure for it. And the pose itself just has a really nice, menacing look to it. Really good explosion on the base as well. Very, very easy to paint up, very easy to manipulate and work with. And just in general, it's a solid model. It's good, it's imposing, and very befitting of the fact that it's now a 5-threat Ultron. But he does come with more than just that. He also has his wonderful Ultron bots here. These are the Ultron Drones. So you can see here there's the 5 Ultron Drones on here. One of them crawling on the ground, a couple of them flying. These ones, unfortunately, I had to build them before the instructions were available, so mine are slightly off skew. I think these guys are supposed to be higher up here, but overall, fairly straightforward to put together. It would have been nice to have the instructions because I think I could have gotten the poses a little bit better on them. But after taking a look at the instructions, I think that's something that's definitely rectified just by following the instructions. But it's a great set of drones to it. I like the fact that it really kind of shows the endless nature of the drones, that there's just so many of them. So yeah, that's the models themselves. Let's quickly go over the character card here for Ultron, the Metal Tyrant. So we have his stat line 445, very good stat line for 5-threat, 8 stamina with 5-threat, size 3, medium move. He's got his basic builder attack is an energy attack, concussion blasters for range 4, 6 dice. And it has a wild nano corruption, which basically puts poison and bleed onto the character after the attack is resolved. So both kind of nothing conditions on their own, but they do really add up. They can cause a lot of problems. He's got his spender of physical extinction protocols, range 3, 8 dice for 4 power. Before damage is dealt, he gets a size 4 short throw out of it. He's got a wild explosive force. So after the attack is resolved, other characters within 2 of this character, so that's within 2 of Ultron, are pushed away short, and they suffer 1 damage if they're pushed away. We're seeing this a little bit more. I really like it. It's kind of a nice little crowd control type thing that we see going on. It's also a great way of just putting some damage on that's very hard to answer because it gets around defense dice and everything like that. We have an active superpower, the Kinetic Field Generator, for 3 power. It is a size 4 terrain throw within range 3 and a medium throw. Anytime I see a range 3 and medium throw, these are just fantastic. I love them a lot for 3 power. This is great. It means you can really clear away some of that more obstructing terrain on the board and really clear some stuff out. And that's up to 5 damage that's just going through before the dodge roll happens. We have another active power, the Encephalo Beam. It is for 2 power. Choose an enemy character within range 3 and advance it short. You're messing with character placement. This is great. In a recent battle report, Troop was able to use this quite effectively against me, moving my guys around. It is not to be underestimated, but anyone who knows what this game is like knows that this sort of movement is always really powerful. We have an innate metal mind. When defending against mystic attacks, wilds count as 2 in the defense roll. In addition, cannot be pushed or advanced used by the special rules of mystic attacks or enemy superpowers. Gonna be difficult to shift him. And not being able to be pushed by superpowers, that clears out a lot of things that might move him away. And I mean, mystic attacks, they have a lot of movement shenanigans. So being able to basically just stay put is really kind of solid. And counting wilds is too, just really good. We have another innate, I will create a better age. When a terrain feature is destroyed by an allied effect, if there's not an allied drones in play, you may place an allied drones within 3 of this character. It gains the stagger special condition and is now part of your squad. That is just how he gets the drones back in, and you're going to see why this might be a good thing in the future here. Then, of course, he has flight and immunity to bleed and poison. His injured side does have a difference in that his stamina goes down to 6. Otherwise, it is the same on both sides. So really solid card. In fact, I like this quite a bit. I feel it is it's a nice step up from the original Ultron. It feels very strong for 5 threat. I dig it. So then we have the Ultron Drones here. They have 3 health, medium move, size 2, 2s across the board for defense. So they are actually rather bulky as far as their stat line goes. They have an Energy Blast, range 3, 4 dice, energy attack for their just basic attack. But then they have Rough around the edges. This is actually really cool. It's 0 power. When this character would be removed from the battlefield, enemy characters within 2 of this character suffer 1 damage. An allied Ultron Metal Tyrant gains 1 power for each damage dealt this way. Then the character is removed from the battlefield. So if you ignore them, they're just going to keep pumping you with 4 dice shots. If you blow them up, and you're too close, they're going to deal 1 damage to you. I love it. The downside is, though, is that they can't pick up, hold, interact with, or contest objective tokens. Kind of sucks. But given what these grunts seem to do, that's a pretty fair trade-off. And then, of course, they have flight and immunity to bleed and poison. So really nice suite of stuff on the drones there, which I kind of dig. Now, there's 2 cards that I'm going to talk about in this case. One of them is a new card, one of them is an old card. So we have the Glory of Ultron, which we'll talk about first. It's an unaffiliated active card. Ultron may play this card during his activation, so you note that it's Ultron, so it's referring to the alter ego. Each enemy character within 2 of Ultron or allied Ultron drones may spend 1 power. For each character that spends power, Ultron gains a power, and for each character that does not spend power, it suffers 1 damage. I love this. It's either powering up Ultron or making some people suffer 1 unanswered damage. It is not a great choice to have to make for the other player. I really dig it, and I love the fact that it works on both Ultrons. And then, of course, we have a classic card, the Age of Ultron. So once again, unaffiliated reactive, and it refers to Ultron here. So once again, the alter ego, as long as things don't get adjusted in the forums here. If Ultron is KO'd after the effect is resolved, he may spend 8 power to play this card before removing the miniature from the battlefield. Ultron is not removed from the battlefield. Instead, he removes all special conditions, flips his card to the healthy side, removes all damage, drops all objective tokens, and may be placed within range 3 of his current location. This is such a good card. And because Ultron can get power relatively easily, like he's got some options for, like either just by taking damage or throwing his good attacks out, or even forcing some damage through the Ultron drones. This is going to be something you got to watch out for. If Ultron's on the table, especially this Ultron, I think Age of Ultron is definitely something you're going to have to watch for, because you might be seeing it. So that is Ultron the Metal Tyrant. Yeah, for a 5 threat, he brings some really interesting stuff to the table. I think in general, he is a very splashable 5 threat character. I think he can actually bring some nice durability to any team that he's on. Like, his defensive stats are just great. If you think you're going up against anyone with Mystic, I mean, you throw him on the table, he's going to be really hard to shift, especially if with Age of Ultron on there. The grunts and drones are just a really nice extra thing that you can have in there just to cause some extra damage, cause some extra, like throw some extra dice in there. So I think in general he's a really solid character. I think he's going to see some really good play on here. As far as affiliations go, I mean, there's not really affiliations he doesn't care for. I mean, he'll get more out of some than others, but I think in general at the 5 threat, like be judicial with how you do want to put him in there, because a 5 threat is an expensive splash in there. But I would say anything that really just kind of twigs his kit up a little, like a little bit more power, he probably really enjoys quite a bit, or even some movement so he can get multiple attacks off and around instead of having to move. But yeah, so that is Ultron the Metal Tyrant. So yeah, sound off below. Let us know what you think about the character and where you think he belongs in the game. And of course, we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.